So the next question is from someone that finds reading social skills and people's tone very hard. So I guess they mean inflection in voices and that type of thing. And they often get upset and embarrassed when they do try and join in the conversation, probably saying the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I don't know how I can boost my confidence. Sometimes I just feel like not even bothering to join in.
Yeah.
Any tips on how they can stop themselves feeling like that?
It's a tough one, this, because that's me.
Right.
That you've just described. I know what it's like to think, oh, I'm just not going to bother. I get that normally when I have tried it and it's not worked, and I just think, oh, I'm not going again. Next time somebody invites me, I'm just going to not go.
Yeah.
So I understand that feeling. All I can say is try to prepare for what might come up. You know.
So ask the questions. Maybe like you were saying earlier about ask them about themselves.
Yeah.
So they're talking rather than you talking, and you're joining in a different way rather than feeling you've got to direct the conversation the whole time.
Yeah, it's not your not solely your responsibility to drive
that's
the
probably
conversation.
Quite important. Yes.
You might feel that it is, or you're so anxious about it going wrong that you're trying to control it all.
Yes.
So it's hard. I mean, it's misreading sarcasm, misreading when something's a joke and when it's not a joke. You know, so you crack a joke at the most inappropriate point in the conversation, and everyone's deeply offended. I've done that countless times.
Yeah.
Or I've thought that people felt the same way I did about something and they don't, and I can't tell.
And you can't, and you also can't learn that, can you? You
No.
still wouldn't know why you'd upset them.
That's another one of those things of can we teach that first question?
Yes.
Can we teach them the skill? Not really.
No.
Because they don't even know what you're talking about. They don't understand.
Yeah. So again, it is almost preparation, and hopefully, if you have those a few stock questions, if they then start to get going on a conversation, that will gradually build their confidence, hopefully. And as you say, you put your positive experiences in the bank for next time, and thinking, that worked last time, and then maybe gradually they might find that their confidence.
It might be worth writing it down to the successes.
Yes.
Keep a kind of diary or something. Because I published my autobiography, and the successes and failures are all down there in that book, you know. And I flick through it from time to time, and I read the awful bits and think, I remember that, it was horrible. But I also read the successes and feel good about them. You know?
Yes, so it's good to remind yourself
the way
when
your
it did
brain
work.
is wired with Asperger's, you tend to forget the successes and focus on the negatives. But the successes were there.
Yeah.
So it's good to have a record of them.
Good
and think,
idea.
I did do that. It was good, you know.
And that's a good way of building confidence, isn't it? So as you say, a simple journal or a diary.
Another thing as well with drawing, which I get phases of I'm not going to talk to anybody ever again. You know, I've had that. But the trouble is, if you withdraw and you don't mix with people, then you start becoming self-absorbed, which people with autism have a tendency to be anyway. I mean, autism means self.
Yes.
So you are inclined to be preoccupied with yourself. I don't mean to be selfish.
No, but as you said earlier, it is almost sometimes accepting that maybe it's the other people that are not doing it right. It's not always you doing it wrong.
But if you withdraw, then that kind of self-absorbed thing will become more intense. And then it'll be harder to mix when you have to.
Yeah.
So I'd say just bear that in mind, that the longer you are away from people, the harder it will be to go back when you need to.
You try.
I mean, you can choose not to mix with people, and I do choose not to mix with people. But it's harder to, there are certain situations in life where you have to mix with them, and the longer you are withdrawn, the harder it is to get back.
So it almost is practice.
You need to kind of tell yourself that when those feelings come of I just want to get away from them, you can get away from them, but don't stay away too long.
Yeah. And a final question, this is from someone who experienced a problem with their sister at the weekend at a social situation. She's normally really loud and bubbly with her friends, but they went to a family wedding. Okay, we're not a very close-knit family, but this lady refused to talk to anyone and just wanted to sit in the corner. They go on to say, I sat with her and tried to encourage her to dance or go to the bar for a drink, but she wasn't interested and insisted on telling me all about her friends. It was almost as if she was imagining she was with them and not at the wedding. How can I help her relax in the future and enjoy occasions like this? Is there anything you can do to prepare for her being overwhelmed and pressurised by the occasion in advance? So obviously I think they recognise that the situation was very overwhelming and perhaps pressurising for their sister.
Yeah.
Tried to help them join in.
Yeah.
Is that often the best thing to do if you're dealing with someone who suffers from Asperger's?
I'd say that's probably the worst thing.
For you, that would be the very worst thing. If they said, get up and dance.
I think the problem comes with assuming things, not to be detrimental to the person who asked the question, but you can sort of assume that the things that relax you are the things that will relax them.
And we all do that,
so
don't we?
If you think, let's go to the bar and get a drink, or let's get up and have a dance and loosen ourselves up, let your hair down. To someone who is very withdrawn and feels embarrassed, I can't dance, and I've even sort of tried on my own, when there's nobody in the house. And thought, why can't I do it? So I put some music on and I feel ridiculous.
So you're not going to do it in public, are you?
Feeling ridiculous when there's nobody there, to see it. And I'm thinking, I feel like an idiot for doing this. And the fact that I'm 6 foot odd, towering above everybody, probably has something to do with it. But I'm feeling very anxious that I can't do it. So I can remember at school when they had some sort of event and everybody's getting up dancing, and I sat on the outskirts, and didn't do it because I couldn't do it. And I remember a girl coming up to me and saying, come on, it's easy, and and thinking it's not. I'm watching them and thinking I don't know what they're doing to make those shapes and move the way they're moving. I have no idea how they're doing it.
So you would almost find that if someone was doing that to you, you would find that the worst possible thing. So would you suggest that actually this lady would do better to say to her sister, don't do that?
Yeah. Because you're assuming that what's relaxing for you is what will relax them. Whereas you might actually be making them more tense, more pent up. I can remember when I was in my late teens, I went to a gathering and there was a girl there who really liked me. And I'd been told that she really liked me. Whereas on a previous occasion, I was more relaxed and made her laugh. And so at this event, she thought, I'm going to ask him to dance, because she was hoping that I was going to ask her to dance, because that's not going to happen. So she came to me and took my hand. I went, come on. And then immediately I was flooded with the panic. I can remember it seizing me, like filling me up like a flood, and I just snatched my hand off her, and that was it. Then.
Yeah, she didn't ask you again.
Well, it wasn't just that I would have come across as very angry. Yeah. When I wasn't angry actually.
And particularly not angry at her. If you were angry at anything,
I was angry at myself and spiraled into a pit of depression and self-loathing after that. Because I knew I'd blown it, But the assumption was, come on, don't be shy, all these kind of phrases. Enjoy yourself, don't be shy. When they don't realise that you're as comfortable as you can be sat against that wall.
So this lady...
You might be all pent up, but it's the best you could do,
So this lady sitting there quite quietly could have just felt very much like a fish out of water at this situation, and her best way of dealing with it was to sit quietly and maybe talk about her friends.
Yeah.
And so you would say, again, it's sort of prepare people for what's coming.
Yeah.
Is it going to be noisy? Are there lots of people there? But also accept that they might not want to join in a way everybody else does.
Yeah. So the short answer to the question
yes, because we've done the long one.
is if they're not comfortable, don't push it. You know, just accept that that's as good as it's going to be. You know, and that way you don't feel bad for them.
Yes, because that's the other issue, isn't it?
So they're as comfortable as they can be, and you know that they are.
Yeah.
So then you're more settled about it as well.
So overall, it seems to be that the key thing for people is prepare, find out as much about the venue, the other people that were there.
Mm.
If you can get a few stock questions, but without making it look like an interrogation as to not just how are you, what do you do for a living, how's your job, how's the family, that sort of thing. You would say if someone wanted, in a nutshell, the easiest tips that still might not work for them but might help them, it's preparation.
Yeah.
And if you feel the pressure getting too much, you leave.
Yeah, as much information about the situation as you can beforehand. Yourself, if you've got Asperger's, how you're going to handle it, what's likely to happen at the event, and also to prepare other people. If you've got a family member who can tell the other people, that's great. You know?
Yeah.
And if it all goes spectacularly wrong, you know, just apologise, and if you feel you need to leave, then leave.
And don't beat yourself up over it.
Yeah, well that that is the
That's the hard part.
That's the right thing. Don't beat yourself up about it, but you might do. You know. But again, if you can put enough in place beforehand, people will say it's all right. We understand. You know. I once went to a wedding reception and got to the door, and then went back home.
Yeah.
I went in and someone said, "Oh, do you want a drink?" And I just said no. And the abruptness kicks in because of the anxiety. No, I've got to go. And I said to my wife, I've got to go. I can't do it. Too much music, too many people. I can't do it. And I'm going white as I'm explaining myself.
So a lot of it is also allowing yourself to say, I can't do this today.
Yeah.
And walk away. That's your safety net.
I did go home feeling really bad. And then afterwards, people would tell me, "Oh, we know, we know what you're like."
Because generally, people are quite understanding.
Yeah.
If you tell them why, they know it wasn't you being awkward. It was a genuine thing, and they understand that.
Yeah, and they'll even say, "Well, at least you turned up if you only got as far as the door."
Yeah.
You know?
And that's for next time, isn't it? That you then at least you think, well, I did that last time.
Yeah.
I can do a bit more this time. So hopefully it won't have all the answers, but hopefully we've answered the questions. Yeah. And been able to perhaps give people a few tips. I mean,
you're asking a man who has all the same problems, so.
But those are your coping strategies.
I hope it's been of some use. Yeah.